as promised, I'm going to show you how to install the software we need for this class. So I'm back inside of GCP. I've selected my virtual machine, and I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to hit start. And obviously it's going to start billing me, so just say yes, I understand. So this is now starting. It's going to run for a little bit. So just let me walk you through what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to install Anaconda. Anaconda is just an environment management system, and that's going to be really helpful for us just so we can make sure we're saving everything to the right, or basically like when we install dependencies, they're installed in the right place. If you've ever tried to do any of this work, you realize like differences of Python versions and other versions just make it a really, really big pain to like manage your software. So I personally found Anaconda works well. There are also Docker instances if you're a Docker person. I'm going to teach Anaconda because it's a little bit simpler, so I think we'll just start there. So now that my instance is running, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say open in browser window. And once this is open, we'll be able to start the install process. Cool, so we're here. So again, I'm inside of my instance. I'm just going to type ls, see what's in here. So I already have this folder in here. We'll work with that in a minute. The first thing I need to do is get Anaconda installed. So I have actually gone through and just like copied and pasted these steps. I'll probably make a document that I'll link to in the notes just to sort of help you understand the steps. This might get updated, but as of right now, it's the latest. This is the latest version of Anaconda. I just found it using one of their archives. So the first thing we're going to do is grab this, and we are going to paste it in here. So it just says wget and then this file. Because we're on Google servers, these are pretty fast downloads. Okay, so that's now working. So the next thing we need to do is just bash, like run that command. And that's going to install Anaconda for us. Oh, that's because I just copy and paste the wrong command. So we want to do, yep, that one. Go ahead and say yes. It's basically all of the legal requirements that none of us ever read. Just hit return, return, return until it's done. Come on. And then you gotta answer yes. Press enter to confirm the location. And it's gonna be installing everything. So while this happens, I'm going to quickly look up. I always forget the commands to create a new environment. So it's conda create environment and conda cheat sheet. This is always the page I end up on. You can tell because it's been shown so many times. And I want conda create, and then I want this. So let's go ahead and see where we are with this. All right, so it's still working. So Anaconda, the way you usually use it is you create different environments, and you can switch between those environments to change different environments. Basically, it's hard to describe an environment without describing it as an environment. You can switch between different like install versions of things. So this is going to be what's helpful. So now I've installed this. So the next thing that you want to do is just paste in this command. Again, I'll post this in the comments. Maybe I'll create a file here that works. So the first thing we want to do is conda create is going to create this environment. We're going to give this environment a name. I'm just going to call it StyleGAN. We probably only need one environment for this entire class, but it's really helpful to just have this set up ahead of time. The Python version is, let's just do 3.7. That's one of the latest versions, and I'm 95% positive it will work for us. It's either 3.7 or 3.6, but let's just go ahead and run this. Interesting. Oh, you know what it is? I need to restart my shell, and I never remember how to do that. let's try this. You'll see that I am the worst, and I just Stack Overflow everything. Okay, yep, so that worked. So the reason that I know that worked is because now it says base here, and base is always like your starting point. It's what you start from when you're building Anaconda. So I'm just going to actually, while I'm taking notes here, I'm going to copy this and just paste this into my doc so I know I have the right steps. So we're going to go back here, and then we're going to press up twice, and we'll be back to this. So conda create -- name StyleGAN Python 3.7. We're going to run this, and we're going to hit yes for proceed. And now it's all set up. So you'll see here, to activate this environment, you want to use conda activate StyleGAN, and to deactivate it, you're going to use this. Thanks, bug. So we'll just copy this command, and we will paste it here. Bug, really too much, baby. Come on. Sorry, cat is always screaming at me. Conda activate StyleGAN. You'll see that now we're in StyleGAN because this is now working, right? So it's the StyleGAN here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to create a couple different folders. We're going to create some folders. So basically there's 3 different StyleGAN repos that we're going to work from in this class. And it'll sort of be your choice which one you want to work from. And I'll describe them briefly while I do this, but basically there's different levels of advanced functionality within each of these. The most basic one is the one that I've forked, and there's like 2 others that are a little bit more advanced. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some directories. So I'm going to say make dir, and then space, and then we're going to call it StyleGAN db Schultz. This one probably already exists, but let's see. StyleGAN dash. Yeah, so that one already exists because I made it previously. Still type out this command. You're really going to need it. I'm going to keep notes here while I do this. What was the last one? This one. And then so we're going to make dir style this one. And then we're going to make another directory that is StyleGAN, and this is skyflyneil. This is just, I'm just naming these because these are the names of the repos, or the name of the creators for the repos. And the reason we can't just like clone all these is they're all named StyleGAN, so they'll all overwrite each other. So I find it helpful to just put them in folders. So we've got make dir StyleGAN skyflyneil, and then make dir StyleGAN dash, I think it's P Bailey's. Let me double check that real quick. Yep. Okay, cool. So, oops, losing my place here. Yep. So we've got this one, and we've got this one. Cool. So let's make that directory. Cool, so now if I ls here, you'll see I have my Anaconda files, which I can actually delete this file if I wanted to. So maybe let's just do that. Let's rm and then Anaconda. So you can, again, if you've never used the command line that much, you press tab and that auto completes for you. So this is just going to remove this file for us. So now we're cleaned up a little bit here. I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste this up here. We can do these in different orders. So now I've got 3 folders here. So when I go to let's go into the StyleGAN. So if I were to redo this again, I would probably name these actually with the starting name and then StyleGAN after. It's fine for this. It just makes autocomplete a little bit more annoying. So I believe this file is already in here. I'm just gonna do this, and I'm just gonna dump this folder. Okay, so I think that worked. Yes, okay, so that worked. So basically I had started installing some stuff earlier and realized I needed to record this video, so now I stopped. Okay, so now we need to install this library. So we're inside of the db Schultz library. So actually that URL for that is this. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to clone this repo down. So we're going to copy this URL, and you'll see it's conveniently just db Schultz StyleGAN2. And then we are going to type in here Git Clone, and we're going to clone this down. And now if we ls in this folder, we'll see we have a StyleGAN2 in here. So let's go back to our main directory, and we're going to type in ls, and we're going to see that again we have skyflyneil. So let's do this one. So the library we just installed is my fork. This is really good for square, like if you're just doing purely 1024 by 1024 square repos or square images in StyleGAN. This will be a really good repository. It's got a couple other features that make it better than NVIDIA one, but it's still like pretty basic. The next one we're going to install is this one from Skyfly Neil, and I hope I'm pronouncing that person's name right. I have no idea, but we're going to go there. So we're going to do Skyfly. So this one includes non-square images, which I think is really nice. It's a nice benefit if you want to do anything that isn't square, which I find myself doing fairly often at this point. So we're going to do Git Clone, and oops, actually first thing we need to do is cd into that folder. So cd StyleGAN, sky, and then tab complete, hit return, and then we're going to do Git Clone. And we're going to clone in this one. So now if I ls here, you'll see that I have StyleGAN2 in here as well. So again, each of these folders is named StyleGAN2, which might get really confusing. But just because if there's updates over time, I want to be able to git pull without like getting really confusing about where I am. So I find that this folder structure helps. Okay, so now we're going to go back to that main directory, and we're just going to cd into this folder. So this is Peter Bailey's StyleGAN repo. He has forked stuff from this repo, and then he has added, let me just show you. He has added basically a way to do classing inside of StyleGAN2. So basically you can add labels to your images, and then the idea is that the StyleGAN2 model can then use those class labels to manage sort of the latent space. And that the hope is that you can add multiple images or multiple different types of images to the latent space without having them sort of merge. So like say you have photos of dogs and photos of flowers and photos of annoying cats that scream at you all the time. You could put them all in here, and it wouldn't try to merge them together into like one like Hydra Beast kind of image. So it's a pretty nice library. We'll be talking about that like sort of toward the end of class. But just because I want to be able to install it, let's look at how to do this. So again, I've moved into my P. Bailey's StyleGAN folder. I'm going to I'm going to type Git Clone in here. That didn't work. Let's copy this again and paste. That's all that set up. Cool. So I believe at this point we are ready to go. The nice thing about all of these libraries is they're going to use pretty much all the same dependencies. So in that case, like we don't really need to install multiple dependencies. In some cases, if some of these were using different versions of different dependencies, you would want to create different Anaconda environments for each one of them, and then you would switch between them as you're moving to each folder. In this case, all of these are using the exact same dependencies, so it's pretty good, and it's like fairly easy for us to manage. So we're just going to install from one repo, and then we'll go from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just come in here and grab the requirements.txt folder. So this is these are all the requirements for using this repo. So am I already inside of the Peter Bailey's? Oh, so I moved backwards, right? So if I ls, yep, so I'm already here. So I'm going to go back into the Peter Bailey's version and hit slash and hit StyleGAN2. So now I'm inside of the repo folder for this repo. If I ls, you'll see there's a bunch of stuff here. So there's a couple ways we could do this. We could try to install all of this using Anaconda. The preferred way to install all of these dependencies is by installing them using Anaconda. The hacky way, which we're going to do for this, is using pip. The problem is that Anaconda doesn't really have a way to install each one of these sort of as a list, or it's a little bit trickier. Actually, let's just Google this to see how hard this is. Anaconda install text file. So it looks like there is a way to do this. Okay, you know what? I'm probably still going to do conda install yes file. Okay, so let's just try this. So if we do conda install yes, and then point at the file, and then we're already in the folder, so this is looking at for requirements.txt. Let's just run this and see what happens. So this should install all of the necessary libraries required. One thing that's kind of annoying here is it'll probably reinstall TensorFlow because we already have TensorFlow running, or like we're already at TensorFlow 1.15. So it's a little annoying. Like I might actually edit this and just give you like a single file or like a bash script to install stuff through. But for the moment, let's do this and let's just see how it goes. Okay, so clearly this didn't work because I have a bunch of stuff here that it can't actually install. So there's two things we need to do here. So let's, we're just gonna install this using pip. It's easier, I know how to do it. The first thing I want to do is look at my pip version, and it looks like we're at the latest. 20.0.2 is definitely the latest version of pip. Bug, please stop. Okay, so we're going to do pip install -r and then requirements. So again, this is not, if you're a Anaconda Pro, you will maybe cringe at this because you usually want to install stuff in Anaconda instead of via pip, but this will be fine. We'll do this. This is now installing all of these dependencies. And while this is installing, I'm going to go ahead and I have a quick little demo script that I know works, so we can test this to make sure it works the way we want it to. Actually, this is a good idea too. Let's do this while we're here. So you'll see that TensorFlow, reinstalling TensorFlow takes the longest time. Hopefully it's not stuck here. It should be working fine, but we'll see. Cool. Looks like that's working. All right, so I'm just going to go back to my root directory, and then I'm going to go right into my fork of this version, StyleGAN2. Okay, so for my version, I also have an easy install script that'll install some things. You'll see it installs the requirements.txt, which we already did. But I'm also just going to go through the steps here of like a couple other things that I know we need to do for this particular repo. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make a directory called pkl. We're going to then move into that file, and we're going to use GDown, which is a way to download files directly from Google Drive. And we're going to download the Inception network into this pickle file, which, again, you don't have to know what that means, or into this pickle folder. Interesting. We did not install GDown. That's going to be annoying. Okay. So we're going to need to install GDown. Okay, so now it's installed. So now we'll download this file. Great, and then we're going to go back a folder, and we're going to make a new directory called networks. Actually, this is not what we want to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a new folder called datasets. So we're going to make dir or actually results. So we're going to make a new folder called results, and then we are going to cd into results, and we're going to make a new folder called 0000 dash pre-trained. And now we're going to download this file. This is downloading the FFHQ file, which NVIDIA produced. So this will basically, we'll be able to do transfer learning off this file. And there's one more thing we need to do, which I have in a separate file here, which is on Colab. Sorry, I'm doing all of this like fairly live, so I can write the instructions after I've done the video, which is probably backwards of what I should be doing, but that's how it goes. Switch accounts. Continue with this one. Switch accounts again. So I think what I might need to do is bundle this up into a nice little bash script for everybody, which maybe is what I'll do next. So the thing I want to do is I want to, oh, is it not here? It is not here. Okay, it's in a different file. Actually, it's open on my laptop already. Here. So basically what we're going to do is, now that we've downloaded this file, we're going to need to rename it. So it comes downloaded with this name, which is to let you know that it's the final FFHQ file. We just want to rename that. So we're going to cd into 000, and then we're going to paste in this command, which is just going to that is not right, it's going to rename it. Oh shit. Okay. What I need to do is go back a folder. I really screwed this up. Don't follow me at this point. I'm going to write a bash script that makes all this way cleaner, because this is just like a headache for everybody. So let me go ahead and do this one more time, which is just ls, and I want to move this file. So I'm going to do mv, actually we can do this from here. So I'm going to rename this file from here. Oh boy. Now it's been renamed, right? So I change names from this to this. Basically, I need the name in this format so that it can be installed, or like there is a command within the repos that looks for this sort of file convention or name convention, and then I can use this to put it in latest. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do mv network, and I'm going to move it to /00 pre-train / and then I'm just going to take this name and put it in here. So now I'm just moving that file into this folder. Yep, okay, so now that is in there, correct. So I'm just going to move back to the main folder of StyleGAN2, and there is one last thing that I want to do, which is there's this test command that I want to run. Where is it? Here are the thousands of files I have on my computer at any one time. Of course, it was in this folder. All right, so the last thing I want to do is we're just going to make this is a command that helps us just generate some images and make sure that everything is working. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this and just do, not here, I'm going to do it here. And I'm just going to run this, and it is going to generate some images, assuming it works. And we have to rename our file here because this is not right. Networks, or actually, so what we want to do is, shoot. Okay, so this is going to point at results /000 dash pre-trained slash, and what was the command name here? This one. That should run. And if you're still watching at this point and haven't like completely lost hope in me, we're actually running a couple. These are what's called CUDA like commands. It's basically like the NVIDIA folks wrote these custom commands in CUDA that help things run faster. So if you ever see this running, that's what that is. It's pretty helpful. It makes things run a lot faster. But the very first time you run this command, it's going to take a little bit of a while just to set this up. And now you'll see we're producing some images. So everything that we need running in StyleGAN is now working. This is using all the different dependencies we needed. If you try to install just the StyleGAN library from the very beginning, without using Anaconda, you're going to run into a bunch of issues around Python and dependencies and other things. So this makes it a little bit cleaner. I am going to redo this video. So we'll just install Anaconda and then write a bash script to do everything else. So thank you for watching. You can sort of check to see if you go ls and then you go to cd results and then ls, you'll see that there's 002, which are these images that we've made. 001 was the when I broke it, and 000 was our pre-trained. So if you go into 0002 and then you do ls, you'll see there are a bunch of images in here. And if you were to download the images, which I'll show you in a different video, you would be able to, actually, one thing you can do is you can just go over here, you can just go download file, and then you need a fully qualified path, which is a little annoying. So let's actually figure out how to do, let's put pwd. So this gives us our entire path here, so we want this. And then if you go to download file, paste this in, and then you do / and let's just download seed 6600.png. And we hit download. This is going to download the file. This is clearly like not a scalable solution, but it works for individual images. There are some ways to do this using like SCP or other things, so we'll be able to get access to this stuff a little bit better. But I'm just going to download this, make sure it like isn't a blank image, which I've never actually had happen, but it could happen. So if we open this, it's going to open a preview, and you'll see here is a face. This was done using FFHQ. Okay, so that was the long-winded version of a video. I'm going to produce a shorter version that you can actually install from once I make a bash script. But if you're interested in sort of the process and behind the scenes, this exists. It is a thing that happened. I regret that I hadn't fully prepared for this, but it does work. So if you're watching this one and you have questions about various installs or whatever, just let me know. But I will be making a shorter version of this as well. Cool, thanks.